Good evening, YouTubers and Beads to Live By fans. I'm Cassandra Spicer. I'm the owner of Beads to Live By, for those of you that don't know me. And if you just stumbled across us, I really appreciate you joining us tonight. Thanks to everyone who is here watching us live and following us and our journey on Facebook and other social media. We appreciate you taking the time to visit with us, specifically during our live broadcasts. And if you can't make it live, please know we love hearing from you and how you're enjoying our tutorials. And we have a Facebook group called Beads in Progress, and that is where you can share the projects you're working on from Beads to Live By. So please feel free to go request an invitation. We just ask, I think, maybe one question so that we can keep some of the spam out of the group as best as possible, since the group members can post. But I see some eyeballs watching. Who's out there in YouTube land? I'd love to know. For anyone who stumbled across and did not put this on their calendar purposefully, this is the project we're working on tonight. It's a really fun and easy wrap bracelet that I sat down and worked on for the first time last week and just fell in love with. I've made, as you can see, several samples. These are both still in progress. The completed sample, of course, is at the bead store where I left it just this afternoon, but hey, Susan, you found me live. Were you just commenting? Hey, Patty. Susan, were you just commenting on Facebook? I saw a notification and I didn't catch who said it, that you already need all the tile colors. Oh gosh, you guys crack me up. Okay, on that note, I'll put up the supply list while we're chit-chatting. So, okay, yeah, I was like, I think that's Susan, because I thought Susan had already gone through and ordered nearly every color that we carry, which I don't know why I felt that way, because we carry over 100 colors of these tile 6mm 2-hole check glass beads, but she ordered quite a few the other day. And Susan, I not only understand but encourage the thought that you should own at least one of every color, because there's so many gorgeous combinations to be made. I wish I'd taken the time to double check the color names on the ones I'm using in my samples tonight, but if you guys are interested in any specific colors, please make sure and ask me either via email or Facebook Messenger, and I will make sure and get you guys some info on the color schemes that I used. I do know that I purposely went through and chose beads that we have listed on our website, specifically the colors, because we have these sizes and shapes all listed, but these colors are all things that we currently have available. So you are working with size 11 seed beads in this project, and the 2-hole 6mm tiles, that's check glass, as well as the 4mm fire polish. And I have been tending to use 2 colors of fire polish in each of my bracelets, just for the sake of interest, but you guys can use 1, you can use more than 2. I think my first sample, I might have even had 3 colors technically. And then my chosen clasp for projects like this, and this one specifically, are the ball and socket clasps, which we sell in quantities of 5 to 10 pieces. And then the 10-pound wildfire, which we do sell on our website, and we have 125-yard and 50-yard spools, depending on what color you're looking at. But those are the supplies we're using tonight, as well as a size. You could use 11 or a 12 beading needle. Gosh, the one I've got in my hand feels really thick. I think a size 10 would start to get a little tight when you're weaving around in this project, but maybe you could get away with it. So I'm giving people just a couple of minutes to catch up with us because I popped on here a little early. So I have the project from last week. I've completed both sides of my earrings. So that's awesome. I just need to put the jump rings and the ear wires on the top still of those. So this was one of the samples. Those leaf earrings are the cover photo. There's just a beautiful mix of leaves dangling from gold hoops in that sample photo. So if you're looking at the videos on the YouTube channel, that's what you're looking for. I will hold the needle up, Susan, but I don't think that you'll be able to tell what size it is from the from looking at the video. I've got this attached to a piece of thread. So I use long needles for most of my projects, but there are shorts that you can get as well. So that's what the needle I'm holding on to looks like. And like I said, it's probably an 11. I don't think it would be a size 10. But next week, we won't be live on our channel because we're going to be going live, I believe, Wednesday, but please double check their social media. Our friends at Softflex are hosting us for a really fun necklace tutorial with our petal beads. We have signature large petal beads in about 14 different colors, I think, listed on the website. Oh, good. I'm glad you have something like that, Susan. And then 2 weeks from now, I haven't set the day yet, but I will be going live with our latest nautical fun bracelet. I decided I really wanted to create kind of the look of a charm bracelet with a little bit more seed beads involved. And I was really inspired by, I finally got all of our nautical beads listed again. They were on our Etsy store, and we're just kind of figuring out what we're going to do with Etsy, how we're going to use it. So in the meantime, I wanted to get those on the website. So we have these wheel beads, the seashells, and then the anchors. And these, this color combo, I did post links to the specific colors I used on our Facebook page this over the weekend, maybe yesterday, maybe it was on the 4th of July, perhaps. And then there are some of those fun piggy beads that we're really enjoying working with. And I did a really fun bracelet tutorial that used mostly just those. And so these could this project could use up your leftovers, or you could get, it could be a reason to get a fun new color. And then you could even stack those bracelets because we used the glass pearls with that project. So fun stuff, chit-chatting about what we've got going on since I was a little early tonight. To be honest, it's been a really busy weekend. I hope everybody has had lots of time with friends and family. We had family in town from out of state that we don't get to see very often. So I had not adjusted my work schedule at all, and I regret my life choices. I wish I would have taken a whole time off, but it all worked out. I'm just really tired, so I figured I'd get on here and make sure that I was ready to go right at 8 o'clock so that I could get to bed as early as possible. For those of you that are not addicted shoppers like some of the girls that I'm chatting with right now, the supply list I'll put back up, but you can shop for all of these supplies and many others at our website at www.beadstoliveby.com. All spelled out, no numbers, all one word. So, and you don't have to capitalize it like I have it written out. It's just easier, I think, to read when the, first letters of each word are capitalized still. But that is the website. I'll flash that back up there for you guys in a little bit. And go back to the comments and see. I'm so glad you guys joined me tonight. Patty, what are you up to? What are you working on right now? Anything fun? So I am going to push my tray there. You can see my little piles now. I wanted to show you guys a little pro tip This is a bead container from, you know, we've packaged various shapes and sizes of beads in these before. Like a little tic tac shape, tic tac. I don't know if you'd call it a box, but the containers that the tic tacs come in. It reminds me a lot of that. But even your old seed bead containers, do not throw these away unless they've cracked or the top is loose. If the top is loose and doesn't stick into your tube very well, I would not keep those for storage. But this is a great example of, I mean, I leave my labels on sometimes from other beads, but I threw all the beads I intend to use on this particular sample into this container together so that I didn't have like 5 packages floating around that I was trying to keep track of. So I am going to show you guys how to get started, and then I'm going to switch between samples because I'm going to show you guys 2 different design choices that I've made at various points. So work with as much thread as you're comfortable with. If you are doing a couple of wraps, you are going to have to add thread. So just take a deep breath. It'll be okay. And I think that maybe I'll even show you guys how to do that during the video, because I think it's a valuable, the technique itself, once I show you a few minutes worth of the project, you know how to do the whole thing. So all these little tricks of how to add thread and how to end your bracelet will be helpful for learning the best of how to make the most of this bracelet. Awesome, Susan. Sorry if I lost you guys for a minute there. I was double checking the sound because that's how I can tell whether my live feed is working or not. So, hi, Rosalinda. How are you? I think people are getting the hang of this YouTube thing. I have more people watching this time around than the first video. It's always nice when it increases as time goes on. So I've got my size 11 seed beads, my 4mm ferro polish, and the 6mm tiles here. And you are going to start by stringing 6 of your size 11 seed beads onto your needle. So see if I can count via the picture here. All right, I've got 1 extra guy. So notice how I don't try to like sit and pick each individual seed bead up. It's really hard to do that and not very rewarding. If you scoop a bunch of them out at the same time and then pull the 1 extra one off that you didn't want, it's quicker and it's better for your arm and hand. You don't have, I mean, we probably all have a little carpal tunnel, but oh, that's fun, Patty. I don't know which necklace you're talking about, but I'm sure it's beautiful. So once you get 6 of those 11s on your thread, you want to leave at least an 8-inch tail, maybe even 10 inches if you're shy about how you work with your, the tail thread is going to be the part that's furthest away. So the tail thread is furthest away from your needle, and you want about 8 to 10 inches of thread there because that's what you're going to use for your clasp addition. So we've got the 6 seed beads there. This is my needle end that I'm tapping on over on the right-hand side of the screen. And we're going to take the tail thread, cross it over the needle side, and pull the tail thread through that loop we create, because this is going to be, I probably have to pull this down a little bit. This is the start of our bracelet. So it's going to look kind of like a loop of seed beads. You're going to cross those threads over each other again, pull the tail through the loop, and then just pull really slowly. Here, peek around my camera to really get in there and make sure I've got it set up the way I want. It's gonna look like a little jumble of beads. That's okay. All you want to make sure and do is go from your spot where your knot is, and I will refocus here and make sure you guys can see where my needle is going through there. So from where the knot is at and you're beading, go through the next 3 beads with your needle. And then when you pull everything nice and tidy, that's how your beads should set, is just stacked up like that. Now, this is ladder stitch. We're going to take 3 beads this time, because we're not starting from scratch. We're working off of the portion we already started. So you've got your thread coming out over here, and your needle is going to go back through the beads that you just exited. And when you pull that down, you'll have your beads that you just added stacked up on top, and then you're going to continue through the next 3 beads like so. Now, it's a very similar movement to right angle weave, but your goal is not to have little squares or loops of beads. You want these little ladders, these little lines of beads to stack up against each other. And then depending on what you want to do with your pattern, I like my project to have like 3 beads between the fire polish and the tiles in portions of it. So we'll do those 3, oh, there's my thread. We'll do those 3 beads, and then we'll go back through. We've got a fire polish on our thread, and we're going to go again. Remember, if your thread's coming out over here on this end of the stack, then you go through from the opposite end of the last 3 beads added. Now, 1 fire polish is treated just the same as 3 of those 11s. So when it sits down, it's maybe a little wonky, and you can adjust your tension. So coming out of this end of the stack, now that we've got that fire polish on there, we have to make 1 more move through that before we add any more beads. And usually doing that helps the tension of your bead a little bit. So I'm going to switch back to my 11s. Remember, after that first 6, you only need to add 3 at a time. And we have to come around to the open end of our 4mm, excuse me. Oh, sorry guys. I ate pizza for dinner, and I feel like it's causing me to feel like I need to drink a lot of water. And it's really hot in Michigan right now. I know there's people in more southern and western states that are laughing at me, I'm sure, for my lack of ability to handle the 90-degree weather, but it's warm for me, so a little dry today. So I'm just adding another stack of 3 of these 11s so I can show you what we're gonna do with the tile. How does everybody feel about the ladder stitch if you haven't familiarized yourself with it before? Are you feeling like it's doable? Is it scary? Remember, once we're no longer live, you can go through and pause parts of the video and replay. Oh, Rosalinda, it is by no means dry here. It is very humid, thus my like retro crazy bouncy curls. I went to the hair salon today, but it's a little extra. So Susan, you're excited about the ladder stitch? That's good. Now I'm going to show you guys, now that I've got like an even amount of my 11s on either side of that 4mm, I'm going to show you guys how I add my tiles. So coming out of the last stack of 11s added, I'm going to put a tile on. They've got 2 holes, so just go through one of the open holes. There's no like right or wrong. And then you also want to add 3 11s at the same time. Trickery. Oh, Rosalinda, if I don't get a good blowout from my hairdresser, or if I if I don't manage to do that myself, which is pretty rare, I do get some frizz, so you're not alone. So I pulled that tile and the 11s down, and you want to go back through. So these were the last 3 11s I added. From that side of the tile, I'm going to go through the unused hole. And if you put that tile right beside the beads that you're attaching it to, and then hold it with your non-dominant hand, you can pull on your thread with your dominant hand and get a really nice taut connection. And then the last thing you need to do to finish the attachment is go through that last stack of beads in your work. And that's going to be the part that connects to the loose end of your tile. Now, right now, the top of the tile does not look very much like the rest of the stitching, but I promise you, so my thread was coming out over here, so I'm going to go up through that same hole of the tile. And then once you pull through that, the last thing you do before everything else is going to repeat after this, is we just go through that stack of seed beads that was attached on the end of the tile. And voila, you can begin to add your seed beads again. You can add a 4mm whenever you're ready. I mean, you could attach tile after tile after tile. So just to show you guys what I'm talking about. Well, here, I'll exemplify first. If you want to get more seed bead stacks on there, you add your 3 seed beads and then just loop through that last stack the way you would have before. But I am going to add another tile rapid fire because I think it would look really good to have a row of like mostly tiles. Oh, I think I know. With the Tila beads, Rosalinda, is that the project you were talking about? Yes, and I do agree. This is a very repetitive, doable project. I really think this is like very much a beginner entry level bead addiction bracelet. So I've got that next tile and seed beads on the end there. I already went through my second hole of my tile bead, and now I'm going back through the last stack of seed beads. Now, the thing about this portion is if you do a section like this, where you've got tile after tile with just the row of seed beads between, it's going to be a little bit stiffer. So you only want to do a portion that's going to like cover one side of your wrist, if that makes sense, and then move back to a more fluid. Well, Rosalinda, I think that project was a little bit harder that you're talking about because you're doing ladder stitch with the 2 hole beads by themselves. There's no seed beads involved, and I think conceptually it's more difficult because you're laddering with the holes going the other direction. Now I'm wondering what Susan had to go off and do. She said, "Be right back." going to grab more beads. That's all I can imagine is people scampering to go find their proper seed bead colors to go with their tiles and their 4mm. And if you haven't heard me talk about this before, we have, I believe, at least 250 colors of fire polish in the 4mm size alone listed on our website. We also have over 100 of these tile colors right now. So we might not always have that big of a selection, but this is something that we have been working for over a year on, getting some very exciting amounts of different beads, lots of options added to the website. So we're really grateful to have it there. We hope it's helpful for you guys. Currently the prices are like, you know, pre-pandemic prices, and all the current inventory should remain that way. So while other people might be having to reorder inventory and increase some of the prices because costs are going up, I've seen that already in other products we carry. Luckily, we've got a huge selection of check glass that should be untrue of for now, and we are really fortunate. Okay, I'm going to add this last tile on this demo section, and then I'll show you guys some other things like adding your thread and all that. Yeah, we had pizza for dinner tonight because it has been a weekend full of family gatherings, which means lots of leftovers, which is great, but we've had a lot of like brats and hamburgers and potato salad, and last night we did a taco bar, which was really awesome, but I had tacos for lunch and I was like, I just need something different, and I just did not want to cook it so hot out. So yeah, that is a fun, like, more solid section of, if you look at that compared to the other design ideas and how I've been adding the tiles, like that's a fun, different way. And my goal with these wrap bracelets is to, as I wrap, I'm going to do it off camera because it's going to be really hard to show you guys underneath of my little setup here, but as I wrap the bracelet around my wrist, the different patterning, I want it to line up so that, like, you know, this strand, you can see the fire polish more. The strand, it's just the tiles more spaced out. You know what I'm saying? I really like that idea. Oh, Rosalinda, yeah, I feel like I have a little bit of like indigestion right now from the pizza. Although I feel like depending on how you eat your tacos, the same can be true of that type of food as well. So, oh gosh, I can't wait to get this stitched into the other sample. But first, the addition of thread. So I want to say, I don't think I already finished that thread off, so that's fine. We'll work from, actually I need to take a few rows out if I want this to be the same. Keep peeking to make sure I'm not missing anybody's questions. So I'm going to show adding thread in my process, and then I'm going to show you guys how I attach my clasp, because I like how it just kind of fits right into the project. Ooh, I love both steak and fish tacos, Rosalinda. I don't know if there's a taco I've ever met that I didn't like either, though. That's like, my poor husband doesn't dislike tacos, but I could eat them. Like, I could eat breakfast tacos and then I could have tacos for dinner. And I could do that most days of the week. So he gets a little tired of the suggestion, but it was a great group. I'm telling you guys, if you're entertaining a large group of people, I mean, we had people, you know, most people brought something with them, but we there's a lot of more complicated food you could serve at a group outing or at a group gathering at your home. So this is where I'm leaving off. I can't show you on camera, but I've got like 8 or 10 inches left. I had a little less, but I pulled some more beads off of it. So I'm gonna actually take this tail thread, and this is like I've got a chunk of this bracelet done. And we're gonna go back through the last row of 11s behind that 4mm that I ended with. And then we're gonna go the other direction through the second to last row. You just wanna get away from the end a little bit because that's where you're gonna end up attaching your new thread. So once you get a few rows away from the end, this is the same technique we use for finishing off our threads in any other situation. Like if we're, ouch, oh, that's gonna bleed, possibly, yikes. So I went under the, I hope that does not bleed on camera. I'm gonna try hard, guys. I went under the thread that's in between the other rows. And then once I've got a little bit of a loop, then I'm gonna go through that loop with my needle. And I hold my hands funny sometimes just so you can see the camera focus in on what I'm doing. So, and then once you get that loop knotted, then you just pull that until it's taut. And then we're gonna do one more time in the same place. So under the thread that's already there between the rows. And then when you have that little loop, you go through the loop. And then unfortunately, unless I hold my hand behind it, it does not want to focus on. But then we're just gonna pull that knot down. So when you get in there, you don't really see much of anything, even though we're working on the side of the project. And then I'm gonna go ahead and go back through the next row back. And that helps keep your tension nice and even because you were pulling the other direction with the thread as you pulled that knot tight. And then we've got our handy dandy cutters. You just put a little bit of tension on that thread. So your goal when you are running out of thread is to, you know, we've got the start end of this bracelet, and then this end does not have any more thread showing. Excuse me, because we've got it all knotted off. So I'm going to cheat and start this sample part that we began here, but it's going to be the same exact thing as if you were, sort of, as if you were adding just like a plain piece of thread. I'll show you so that it works that way. That way you I'm going to show you how to thread your needle too properly. There you go. All right, so new piece of thread, old project. You just want to go through your last bead. Now, normally you wouldn't have any beads on your thread. So we're going to try to pretend like we don't see those beads, but you're going to just weave again. That's why you want to get away from the very end of your project with your old thread, because you have to weave in to the end a few rows back with your new thread. And I would go back and forth and around a little bit, and then normally what you would do is tie a knot once you get a few rows. So, you know, just tie a knot between these two beads here. But since I have this hanging on up here that I want to attach properly, I'm going to just continue on up through here. I mean, you could always do it this way too. You could start a new piece and just make sure you start it the way you want it to look attached and then go from there. But in order to get that to sit properly, I'm gonna pull everything nice and tight. Taut is usually my preferred term because I don't want things to be tight in a natural way, but since we're, oh, I think I'm running into a knot. There we go. That's from where we started the piece there. So my project just grew by 2 inches. It's exciting. And then we are still gonna do the knot the same way we just did. Under a thread, loop, through the loop. And then same thing again. And I even am using a different thread color from the first one, the first section. I just don't care. So the last thing I'm going to show you guys, I'm just going to show you on the end of this, even though it's not done yet. Now, I do also want to point out I am using 2 different color tiles with this section, or with this project, because I really liked how this like luster rose or whatever color it is, because I cannot remember, tile interacts with these. Now, this seed bead color is the galvanized dark berry in the 11s. So I just thought that tile color was really pretty, but I wanted some contrast and some neutrals in there. So I threw in that like luster cream, whatever color that is. Oh, and to show you guys how to add the clasp, well, I'll just use the end of the one that's attached right now. That would be smart. And then you guys will know everything, start to finish, how to make this bracelet, how to add thread, and how to be super successful and make dozens of these wrap bracelets. I have not tested this theory, but I really think that it would work with tile, or I'm sorry, with Tila beads. So you could either do it the exact same way I'm doing these, just trying to thread my needle here, don't mind me, or you could do size 15 seed beads and a 3 millimeter, and then everything else would be the same. I have not tried either of those ideas yet, so you just are gonna have to take a leap and see how it works. All right, so my chosen ending for this is I come out of the last bead in my bracelet, which is not this one, but for the sake of YouTube magic, we're going to pretend it is. So I string on, start with 2 11s and then 1 4 millimeter, and whatever appropriate end of the clasp. So I want to do all 4 of those things at the same time. And then you want to go back through the 4 millimeter. So we're going back towards our work now. And when you pull your thread through, and you don't want it tight right now, you just want it taut, that's what everything's going to look like. And then you add 2 more seed beads, and you go through the opposite end that you started at in that first set of 3 11s. And when you pull that last portion together, it's going to look a little wonky here, but I'll show you on the finished end. After you reinforce it, it looks really clean, and having that little like V shape of seed beads below the fire polish. These clasps do not, now we sell the copyrighted trademarked brand of these clasps. So the rings on these do not cut my thread. I can attach my thread right to the ring. I don't always use seed beads up to the ring. So your fire polish is just like right up against that loop of the clasp. And I really like that look. You don't see I mean, like my thread's going around that clasp twice and you don't see it. But if you have a different kind of clasp, TierraCast brand is something else we use often. You can do this kind of thing with the TierraCast brand clasps. They have some really cute toggles. I don't know if you can see, I don't think you can see the one that I'm wearing, but it's their classic toggle, would be really cute on this bracelet, like a super cute accent. So definitely worth trying out, but that's all there is to it, guys. And just so you see some different variations, like you've got the 3 rows of seed beads with the fire polish, 3 seed beads, second color fire polish, 3 seed bead rows, first color fire polish, and then that's like the first design that I started with on my first sample, and then I started playing around with like spacing out just the tiles and the seed beads. And I had kind of this idea of wanting to do more tiles together, just so the tiles got their like 15 minutes of fame. But I'm really loving these bracelets, obviously, since I hadn't even gotten around to doing the video and had already started 2 additional versions beyond the first completed sample. So that is all I need to show you to be able for you to be successful and make your very own wrap bracelets. Are you guys gonna go play around with that and have some fun designing your own project? Awesome, Rosalinda, I'm so happy to hear it. I feel like I've been talking a lot this weekend too. I can feel it in my voice. Between that and allergies, I'll get you every time. So I really enjoyed spending the evening with you guys. Hopefully Susan didn't get caught up with anything negative. When you're back, Susan, we are here for you, and you'll be able to rewatch all of your project instructions at any point that's easy for you and convenient. So again, the supplies can be found at beadstoliveby.com, and we really appreciate your support. I mean, you do not know how much it means to us. Helps us feed our dog. Every once in a while, you know, have a little celebratory margarita, and I certainly love what I do. So that is the most rewarding part of getting to work with you guys. Aw, thanks, Patty. Thanks, Rosalinda. You guys have a great night, and everyone that's watching us after the live video, enjoy your projects, and make sure and pop over to that group Beads in Progress on Facebook and give us a join there so that we can see all the fun things that you make with our tutorials and our beads. Take care. Bye.